What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here. Delarose.com. That's DELARROZ.com. I am a #1 best-selling comic creator and an award-winning comic creator, and I've got my links in the description below if you want to check out some cool independent comics and you like what I say on the channel. Please do so. Support the channel. Support our efforts in comics. Having fun here, and I appreciate you guys who do so. All right, this is the Fantastic Four by Matt Fraction Omnibus. Now, this takes place right after Jonathan Hickman's run, and Hickman's run is very well regarded by a lot of people. I thought it was a little too dark for me, but it's still mostly enjoyable. So I just wanted to continue on with the Fantastic Four adventure. There's really not that much from Hickman forward to catch up on because Marvel canceled Fantastic Four books kind of as a middle finger to Sony, who owned the rights to the movies at the time. It lasted a few years and Marvel restarted the brand. So this is kind of one of the last runs. It's definitely the last omnibus up until now. And I just wanted to see what was going on with it. A lot of people don't like this, and I found out why. It's a very odd choice in writing on this. You got some nice interior cover. You find out that there's these people in here, and of course you start to read this and you're like, what's going on here? This is not the Fantastic Four. This is Ant-Man and She-Hulk and Medusa, and I don't even know who this she thing is. You got the Fantastic Four on the back here in like a montage cover. All right, this covers Fantastic Four 1 through 16, and then there's an alternate universe storyline also, and then Fantastic Four 1 through 16, or I'm sorry, FF 1 through 16, which is meant to be the Future Foundation, and there's also a .1 issue for one of their like get in now sort of things. Now, I generally like Mike Allred's art. I really enjoyed Madman, his book. His Dick Tracy was a lot of fun. And I liked his Silver Surfer quite a bit with Dan Slott as well. And so I was pretty excited to get into this here. We got the .1 with Allred. And we find out that, we get a little backstory on Ant-Man, basically. Very odd. Very odd way to start a Fantastic Four omnibus. And then we get into Fantastic Four. And we find out that Reed has this condition. Who did the art for this? Oh, was it Mark Bagley? I actually like the art. It's just the writing. You learn that, it is a, let's see, Mark Bagley. Yeah, Mark Bagley's art is great. He's from Ultimate Spider-Man. He's got classic Marvel style, some modern-ish colors, but, he just does a good job. He really cares about these characters, you can tell. Good stuff. Reed Richards has a condition which is, his powers are, degenerating him, and he's going to die unless he goes off and It's a very thin explanation. He has to go through these universes to find some way to figure out how to get back. We never really learn what that is. It's just that is going to happen at some point, and it's kind of odd. So he recruits these four people to kind of hold down the Future Foundation, which is something Hickman set up. And there's a group of kids who have powers, and they're aliens and things like that. And these four are going to take their place. Now, the Fantastic Four is going to be gone for only 3 minutes, allegedly. Or 4 minutes, because it's 4, right? That's the theme. And when they come back, it should be no problem. And, of course, hijinks ensue, and they don't come back, is what happens at the beginning of this. Now, here we get some Allred art, and I think it's kind of wasted. There's a lot of little, scenes like this, where I get this is, classic newspaper strip cartoony type of thing they're trying to do. These jokes really fall flat, though. And they're not that interesting visually to look at. It feels like a waste of Mike Allred's talents when we get a lot of these just sitting around talking scenes. And oh my God, there's so many sitting around talking scenes. Well, they eventually accept. Fantastic Four goes off into adventures, and I start to enjoy the first few Fantastic Four. I'm going to talk badly about this omnibus, obviously, but the first few on here, they end up at a dinosaur planet, and they gotta find their way off of there. The first few Fantastic Four adventures are kind of fun, and then we get into these, he's trying to make us care about these Future Foundation characters who then screw up all the things, the people from the underground world are attacking, and they kind of make a PR disaster out of everything they do. But again, you see there's too many just panels that are the same thing. There's too many talking scenes. Just not enough going on in that to hold my interest. Now, back to Fantastic Four, the other Fantastic Four members don't know that there's an issue with Reed. So they're just something's off here. We end up on this weird planet that's like trying to eat them, basically. Again, like, it's fun in the Fantastic Four books to start, and then it really flips around. So, love Mark Bagley's art. I think the coloring actually does pretty good. It's pretty dynamic in that. Mike Allred's art, you're either going to love it or hate it. He's got a very unique stylized thing that almost looks very golden agey in the way he draws things. And the colors are done very flat, which is done by his wife, which I, again, personally really like. But, again, the panel layouts, just the way that, like, the scripting is done, there's a lot of just, see that here's the redundant scenes again. This is very Bendis-esque, except for, again, I mean, Fraction doesn't quite do as much dialogue as Bendis, but trying way too hard to be cutesy with these personal plots of characters I really don't care about. And that's all that's happening there. Now the Fantastic Four starts to go off the rails already in number 4. We start to have Back in Time, and we look at, like, the past of the Fantastic Four. Every Future Foundation issue is just a personal plot of these characters again, and it just, like, doesn't seem to really go anywhere. And the Fantastic Four, meanwhile, is just going world to world to world. And old Johnny Storm eventually shows up in the Future Foundation to warn them that bad things are happening, and they start deliberating on killing Doom. Do we really kill as heroes? And it's like 5 issues of just, like, deliberating on it. Really not much happening over the course of this. Fantastic Four goes back in time in different spots, and of course we get, like, it's like they show up in the immediate Fantastic Four history. We get a weird going back to the American colonial Civil War. I think we already, or not colonial, like they're signing the Declaration of Independence or whatever. And all the founding fathers are sitting there worried about racism and slavery. Spoiler, that wasn't real. That's a very 2020 concept, and those guys were not sitting there thinking about that as they were drafting the Constitution or whatnot. It's, I mean, I just don't know why these guys go into this sort of thing in these books all the time. It just throws you out of the world. I don't know. Just got a virtue signal, I guess. But the virtue signaling, it's light, there's that, and then there's one other instance where, like, one of these alien children shows up in a dress and goes, I used to be a boy, but now I'm a girl. Is that okay? And everybody hugs him, or her, or whatever it is. That was the other virtue. It's like, God, so cringe. But again, not much happens throughout the course of this. It's very slow. It's very dry, very difficult to get through this book. Holy crap. Those beginning Fantastic Four adventures were fine. Then it just went off the rails. And again, just not much happens. Now, we learn in the middle of this that all the Fantastic Four powers are starting to degenerate. All of them. So it escalates. Here's the Ben Franklin stuff and worrying about racism and all that. Jeez. Okay. All their powers are starting to degenerate them. Now there's a clock that's even worse. And there's something brewing within the Future Foundation where, like, Doom's going to destroy the world if they don't stop something. Okay. I mean, it's 16 issues of each of these, and it's like, it's drawn out so much. Like, nothing happens until, like, the last, like, 3-4 issues. It's like, okay, now we're going to have a big old fight with Doom, and I guess Kang the Conqueror is involved, and Annihilus, and they're kind of working together to try to create this alternate universe, which does end up getting created, where there's a new Fantastic Four in the future, and that Fantastic Four is trying to just make them send back so that they're going to survive. They go to the moon and have to deal with, you know, the characters there, and the Watcher and all that. Just seems like they throw the characters in there just because they're classic Fantastic Four characters. And the battle eventually happens, and eventually they rewrite time, and so it doesn't happen, and the Fantastic Four kind of comes back at the end. The end. It's convoluted. The whole time stuff doesn't make sense. The whole reason that they got their powers fixed at the end of this, like, they did all this research at different planets, like Reed was saying, in different times and locations. The Fantastic Four in the future magically heals them in their, like, little future timeline. So all that was unnecessary. An editor should have just been like, gosh, what the hell are you doing, Matt Fraction? It's pretty painful. And I, you know, Mark Bagley and Mike Allred's art were not worth the read here. It was tough. Eventually it ends. You get this alternate universe story, which is an Age of Ultron, which is AAU, which the Fantastic Four is in there just, like, dying, and, like, the kids go off into space. So that's, you know, an event tie-in, which really doesn't matter. The end. And so you get out some variant covers in the back, like normal with these omnibuses. Man, that was freaking rough. Gosh, I don't know what it is about Fantastic Four. It's hard to find people to write this in a quality manner, I guess. But this was, I love the artists, and I generally love their work, but the story was so bad. I got to give this like a 5 out of 10. It was tough. The virtue signaling was just so eye-rolling. The pacing was horrible, and the story made absolutely no sense by the time it got to the end of it. So if you're going to mess with time, plot, stories, and all that, you really got to have your ducks in a row, and Matt Fraction really seemed like he phoned it in. Don't know what went on here. But that's the end of that. I'm glad it's over, and there's not much Fantastic Four left after that to catch up to what's going on now. We'll see what happens when I do so. Hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know what you think, and we'll be back soon.